So, Dean McEvoy with business partner Justice Hammer started a group buying website we now know as Spreets. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good to meet you, Jack. Happy to be here.
Great. Now, Dean, tell us a little bit about how you found the idea, because I understand that it was obviously an American concept, and what gave you the impression that it would work out in the Australian market?
Sure. I've been working in another startup since 2004 called Buchanan, which was essentially an online reservation company for restaurants. Mm-hmm. And for years I'd been selling it here, and I was living over in Silicon Valley, doing some business development and talking to some investors over there. And I was in a conversation with one of those investors where I was describing to him one of the biggest problems we were trying to solve with that business. And one of the problems was that we signed them up to this reservation product, and as soon as we signed them up, they only got a few reservations off us. They never got a lot, and they never saw the impact very quickly of what the business did for them. So we were trying to find how could we make them feel the love, make them feel the impact of what we were doing to them every day. And so I was talking to an investor about this, and he said, well, I just got a pitch from this other company in Chicago, Groupon, which is kind of doing something similar to what you're doing. You should have a look at it. I saw it back then, and I was like, look, that's pretty interesting, and came back to Australia, and I just started a conversation with the Pollenizer guys, Phil Maul and Mick Levinskas, and sort of said to them, I've been trying to do this for ages, and I know that the holy grail of delivering business to a small business is you've got to deliver it to them in a way that they feel the impact of it. And I knew that this business model would do that, and I knew also that on the consumer side, people every day are looking for interesting things to do, and they often end up just going to the same bars and restaurants, and you really need a pretty good reason to get off your butt and try something different. And that's what this does every day. It gives people an email with an amazing idea for something to do that's interesting and exciting, and it gets people out trying the new interesting things in their city. So I knew that the marriage of both delivering more business to local business and also helping people find an interesting thing to do was like the silver bullet, the holy grail of what needed to happen in what I'd call the local search market. So came back in December and chat to the Pollenizer guys, and we decided to give it a go.
Great. So you mentioned sort of stopping by Pollenizer.
Yep.
From there, what were your first steps in actually executing the business?
Well, it was over Christmas drinks with Phil that I said, Phil, we should give this a go. Like, let's, what do you reckon? And he said, well, let's throw some resources at it, but we've got to prove that it's going to work in a short amount of time. We don't want to waste months, kind of, down the line. So they said, we'll throw extra resources at it over Christmas to build it quickly. You've got to sell it. So I basically got on the phone, started calling restaurants and experiences and day spas and pitching them the idea. So on day one, just trying to work out how to sell it. Give us a 50% off discount, and we'll run a deal for you. So basically, it was on literally a couple of days after we decided to get started, Phil's team started doing the development, and I just got on the phone and started calling some businesses and selling it. So I think that's just get started. Don't think about it too much.
Yeah.
Analysis paralysis. Think.
Yeah, absolutely. Not over planning the beginning.
No, not at all.
And how important was it in the early stages to stay lean?
I think it's important to stay lean because you learn more from it. When you've got lots of resources, when you've got lots of money, if raise a whole pile of cash, often spend it on the most irrelevant stuff. When you don't have it, you really focus on what's important because you have to focus on what has the biggest impact. And so we learned very, very early on that the key to this model is the quality of the deal. Nothing else matters. And we started off with just 400 people on our database when we first launched. We've now got over 600,000 people. And the reason why is the inherent viral nature of this model. We send the deals out, people who are interested in it go and share it with their friends on Facebook and Twitter and email. So the key to growing the database and the key to selling more is basically introducing the deals that will go viral.
Yeah.
And so we learn a lot from being lean at the start, and I think it's really important for any startup that's thinking about it going forward.
Yeah. And so then, what were the trigger points that said to you guys, okay, raising money is now the way to go?
Well, we kind of worked out that we're already making money, and we could have actually organically grown the business, on our own. But we knew that there was low barriers to entry for anyone else. We knew that other people had already launched. We already had competitors, like, I think a couple of months after we launched. We were the first to launch back in February, and I think Scoop-On launched a couple of months after us.
Yeah.
And so we knew we got some big competitors we've got to fight against. We've already proven the model works. We've executed well to kind of give the metrics of what the business model is going to look like. It's not really a business model anymore, it was a business. And so we knew that if we wanted to grow this business, we had to go and raise money. So I put my pitching hat back on and went and spoke to some Australian investors, and a colleague of mine introduced me to some European investors who ended up investing. Two guys called Oliver Jung and Klaus Hommels, both early investors in Skype and Facebook. Really smart guys, super well connected, brilliant operators, and from the first phone call to the money in the bank was 2 weeks. They do not mess around, those guys, and they taught us the importance of executing well and executing quickly. And in this market, I knew that partnering with them was the best idea, because you can't sit on your hands and think about things in this market. It moves so fast, there's so many competitors. The key to winning is just about executing quickly, don't think about it, just do it.
Yeah.
And I think that partnering with those investors was obviously in the end a good decision.
Sure. And in terms of the process of raising money, what did you learn through those sort of 2 weeks and the period leading up to it?
I've been trying to raise money for my previous business, Booking Angel, since 2004.
Yeah.
And so I'd knocked on every door in Australia every door there was in Silicon Valley. I went to networking events, I talked to people, and I learned a lot about, and I learned the most in Silicon Valley talking to the businesses that raise money really easy and quickly. Oh God, it used to piss me off, but I talked to some young MIT students that just walked out and said, oh yeah, this guy just threw $1 million at us because he kind of liked us. And I was like, oh my God, how does that happen? And it used to annoy me that I'd been trying so hard and I had a real business. And I think the key to raising money is a little bit like dating. Like you never want to be the desperate person walking around asking everyone for a date, because no one wants to talk to you. You basically just got to create the business that everyone wants to talk to. You've got to be the most interesting, funnest person that everyone in the room is like, who is that? That's like he's awesome. We have to talk to him. And so that's the key, I think, to raising money. Don't try and raise money. Just try and build something fascinating, interesting, and compelling that people just want to be involved with. And get feedback early on about what is and isn't interesting about your business, how can it be better. Use those conversations with smart investors and things like that for feedback. Don't try and pitch them. I think that in the process you'll probably end up pitching them because you're just trying to learn from them about their feedback for you on the business. But I think that that's kind of what I learned from the years of not being able to raise money. And then with this business, we knew we had a great product. We knew that Spreets was the first to launch, the market leader. We had a great team. It's super important. For someone that doesn't know you, you can't do this on your own, and you need to get other people around you that can help you, do everything that needs to be done when you're doing a startup. So all of those things, I think, are the key ingredients for raising money. Good team, great service or product, and prove that you can execute. That if you say something, do it, and then go back to them and say, hey, I told you I was going to do that, and I did it. And we're awesome. And if you want to invest, that's up to you, but we don't need your money.
Yeah.
Treat it mean, keep it mean.
Less conversation, a little more